Aiden, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Biggest match? I'm doing great.
Good, man. Good.
Biggest match of your career? You agree?
I can definitely say that. Yeah, this is definitely the biggest match of my career.
Now tell me about the selection process, about having Pete Dunne face you specifically. Is this something where when you find out that Pete Dunne's coming to BCW, you say, "Give me Pete Dunne"?
I wish, but it definitely was a huge shock for me. As you guys know, this, like you said, it's the biggest match I've ever had, and it came as a huge shock. I found out of nowhere. I found out Dunne was coming. Obviously, I dreamed about it, and then bang, I hear that's who I'm wrestling, and here we are. So.
And when did you first hear the news that you would be wrestling Pete Dunne?
I was working. Scott, the owner, the master of BCW, came in, talked to me about it, said, this is what we want to do, and blew my mind. Damn near blew my mind. Yeah.
Is there anything about his style that excites you, that matches up well with his style, where you guys know you guys can put on an absolutely fantastic match?
For me, it's honestly, obviously, I'm one of the bigger cruiserweights here in Border City. So Pete Dunne calls himself the bruiserweight. So he is probably the perfect opponent for me, being the cruiserweight of BCW. He's the bruiserweight. I mean, it's going to go hand in hand. It's definitely his style being, from the UK and that type of stuff. Obviously a huge fan of that style of wrestling. So I think that the styles are going to mesh. People are going to, it's going to be amazing, for sure.
When you were a kid growing up watching wrestling, did you ever envision this for yourself? Facing not just a WWE superstar, but a current champion?
Oh, man.
All eyes are on you this Saturday.
I know, it's nuts. Like, I'm still speechless about it, to be honest. I mean, for me, obviously I dreamed and dreamed and dreamed as a kid. Especially, with my little toy belts and stuff at home, you dream about moments like this, and I mean the fact that it's here, it's happening. It still doesn't feel real, to be honest. You know what I mean? It's wild.
And it's interesting when you talk about yourself as a cruiserweight, because WWE obviously putting a lot of highlights on the cruiserweight division. Some criticism though about the fact that they're almost making them a gimmick. The purple lighting, the purple ropes.
Right.
When you watch that, how do you feel about that?
For me, I like the purple ropes, all that stuff doesn't even matter to me. The fact that the cruiserweights are back, and then they're back in such a huge way, and that they're finally giving some attention to guys like us that are smaller, that go out there, we're the workhorses of the show. Any attention on us is great, and it gives me more hope. You know what I mean? There was a time when I'd watch TV and be like, man, if I don't start eating soon, I'm never gonna be there. You know what I mean? So the fact that you see guys now and they are close to my size, or some of them smaller. It makes it that more realistic that, someday it will happen, for sure.
Now, Pete Dunne, of course, the face of this event.
Yeah.
You look at the posters,
Chills.
front and center.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Front and center. People know a lot about Pete Dunne, but they don't know a lot about you. When did you first start wrestling? When did you first fall in love with wrestling?
It was funny. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. People ask me all the time, what was the first match? What was the match that made you, want to be a wrestler? And then I can honestly say I don't remember. My grandparents are who got me into wrestling when I was a kid, and my first match was against my pet monster, and it sparked from there. And I mean, just as I got older, it was never I just love wrestling. It was I'm gonna be a wrestler. And I mean, as I got older, here I am in Windsor, I'm in the greatest wrestling school in the world, and things just snowball from there. It's been amazing over the last few years, for sure.
And what's been your favorite moment as a BCW wrestler up until this point? I would imagine this Saturday will supersede
this might
whatever your
trump it,
favorite
yes.
moment was. But what was that?
But
favorite moment?
My favorite moment was probably wrestling Bravo. Just being able to tell a story from my first match to our bigger matches, to the blow-off match, to wrestling them all over the place. Just being able to wrestle against a trainer and somebody I look up to, and that type of stuff, it's amazing at that point. And those matches are the ones that got Windsor behind me. Those are the matches that made them chant my name, and those type of things. So I'd have to say those are the highlights right there of BCW. Is just the fact that every show I hear the crowd get a little louder for me. My Instagram followers go up at Aiden Prince, and I mean those type of things. That part of it is a huge highlight.
Now, as BCW continues to grow, as you're alluding, obviously more and more eyes on this promotion specifically.
Yes.
Independent wrestling becoming so big, but BCW specifically,
Yes.
as you showed me before, you're the official training school for GFW's Impact Wrestling. What makes not just Border City Wrestling, but Can-Am Wrestling so special to you?
The thing that makes it special to me is we're not a school where you come here and you just get pushed through. if you're not good and you're not able to represent this school the way it should be represented, you don't get out of here. And I was blessed with that because there was a lot of habits I had that, you know, I needed to get rid of, a lot of things I needed to learn. There was times I felt like I was ready when I wasn't. So, I mean, having good trainers and good people to be like, no, not yet, not yet. You know, your time will come, but not yet. Hurt sometimes, but in the long run of things, you realize it's because of who we are. We make the best wrestlers. So the fact that I'm part of that is amazing. Yeah.